Well, I'm here this morning to present the technical implementation of what you've seen on the video earlier this morning. So it's about government harmonized and interoperable. So let me begin this presentation by just shooting out a nugget to all of you this morning. Something's basically said by Aristotle. It's about the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and that really is what government is all about. Our business case for putting up the iGov and Philippine Government Common Platform basically revolves around a very simple business problem, which was also presented in the video. Data and integration sharing between government agencies remains very expensive and complex. Reduces the effectiveness of government in its ability to craft solutions and to decide on matters that require immediate action. So in response to that, our objective for the Philippine Government Common Platform is to reduce the pain and confusion endured by citizens when they have to transact with government, also the pain that agencies feel or experience when transacting with other fellow agencies, GOCCs, SUCs, and even LGUs. Our vision is a very simple statement. It's a harmonized, interoperable, and interconnected government. Why do we say this is our vision? Because this is our current environment. We are, since most of you are CIOs and most of you are geeks, as much as all of us here are, we know that the pace of technology is not, our pace in government particularly, is not keeping up with the pace of technology. The innovations that are made available are typically now becoming the bane of our existence. What was once a very promising enterprise technology or solution or platform is now becoming a part of our vivid nightmares that keeps us awake at night. So at this stage, at this juncture, we really need to start looking at new technology, new platforms, and we need to begin reforming the way we think about how we handle technology so that it will allow us to provide more efficient and effective service to our citizenry. Just imagine this context of environment that we have here. Earlier, PLDD was talking about, basically in my ears, it was a difficulty in interoperating and basically providing all the needed services to bring our country to that level where we are competitive in terms of connectivity with our neighboring ASEAN nations. But this is how it is. Just imagine each agency that is represented here. If you quantify not only your total cost of ownership, but quantify using activity-based costing principles, how much it actually takes for you to manage the overhead, to connect or even exchange a piece of data between another agency, you will understand the level of complexity and difficulty that I am talking about. So, what do we propose? This is the proposed future environment that we have. Now, when we did the analysis, the team and I and iGov were looking into this, we understood that there are 350 different agencies, SUCs, GOCCs, not to include the 1,450 LGUs, 110 cities, and a handful of the SUCs that we have in the country. So if you bring all of that together and build a mathematical formula to that, the complexity actually increases enormously. So how do we actually attack? Well, there are existing frameworks, such as McKee, there's a cabinet, there's a political framework for interoperability. But the approach that iGov and the Philippine Government Common Platform did is not to take it from a political or from a financial clustering strategy, but instead from a logical data sharing approach. Meaning, you might not be part of a political cluster, you might not be part of a McKee budgeting cluster, but you are logically sharing data with another agency. Then we called this grouping, we identified about 59 and increased about 62 different collaborative groups throughout the government. So all the 350 different entities can now be organized into collaborative groups. Now, each agency can be part of multiple collaborative groups, but the context of being part of a group is not one that is political, but it is one based on efficient and effective sharing of data and information. If you notice on the screen in front of you, bringing everything together really is meaningful information. Most agencies would capture the same type of data on forums that we're distributing to everybody, citizens and even foreigners. But the focus of each agency is quite different. When you have members of DOH, actually, DH entities capture a lot of information about the individual, they pay less attention to the name than they do the cases or to the way their medical terms are understood by neighboring countries or by local regions. There's several ways to call BINA. There's several ways to call, what do you call this, PASMA. There's even such in the medical field. Lokelo, is there such a word as PASMA? In medical science? English, in medicine science. No. Anyway, all right, so you can see the difficulty here. And in the bottom of the screen, all of that meaningful information needs to be aggregated so that we provide you with collaborative repositories. We have the intergovernment data warehouse, to use a very common term, and then you have the contextual registries. Now, when we were designing this entire GCP, Government Common Platform, let me just give you a picture of what we intend to provide you with. The future is that most of you, when you have to order your equipment, you would have to go through a huge amount of steps and processes just to define every single item that you need to procure. The future that iGov wants to present you with is one that is similar to an Amazon and Azure environment, where you go to the portal and whatever you need, as long as you have the budget for it, you can provision for whatever storage, compute, storage, or even application stack requirements that you will need to execute your solutions. So, in architecting this and designing this, we kept strictly with a service-oriented architecture where we decouple systems, we consolidate data, and we're talking about data in any type of format, okay? Whether it be structured or unstructured. Then we will be federating the distribution of content relevant data. We will, the architecture itself is non-intrusive, meaning we provide you with a platform but do not take away from specific agencies or even their alter egos of the collaborative groups the right to control and to moderate who sees the data and to whom the data is shared with, or even how they share the data with one another, and what data to share with the whole of government. Why this approach? Because the whole of government approach, this is what iGov is all about, focuses our collective efforts on things that unify rather than things that differentiate. If I took the 2% of government agencies that have both the budget and the skill sets and the cloud as far as frontline services are concerned, you will notice that in each of these solutions, differentiators actually pop up. Differentiators that when you discuss these things at the policy level tend to become inhibitors rather than enablers. So iGov, Philippine Government Common Platform, is there to provide a unifying channel. What are the solutions components? As I mentioned earlier, we've got the policy component that involves the harmonization of technology, information, process interoperability standards, and of course, all of this is through the Philippine government, e-government interoperability framework, or what has been referred to earlier as the GIF. And as far as the technology components, solution components are concerned, we also have the technology, where we implement a secure, scalable, and extensible government common platform that is accessible and highly available to all government agencies, SUCs, GOCCs, and particularly LGUs. We've been advocating in iGov that if we want to complete the entire loop of providing credible information, then we have to loop in the local governments and provide them with an alternative. The days where a private bank, or let's say PLDT or SMART, would require 2 government-issued IDs must actually be part of a bygone era. Because what we need to do together as government is move towards establishing a credible and high-integrity infrastructure so that when I present a driver's license, when I present a passport, when I present a social security card or a BIR ID card, or whatever I present, as long as it is government issued, there needs to be that credibility for private institutions and private businesses to say, that's sufficient. I can take that. The Philippine government platform, through our context registries, will provide government and the partner private industries with that warm and fuzzy feeling of assurance that this data is authoritative and credible. Now let me talk to you very briefly about the context of standards. I've been presenting this quite often in much of our talks about the Philippine Government Common Platform. The context is really the GMP. Underneath that, we have what we call as the PGIF. The technical implementation is now what we call the Philippine Government Common Platform, which was once, a long time ago, referred to as PGEA. That is it. But in our studies, we understood that really we cannot develop a single enterprise architecture for government because architecture is driven by business context. So we had to identify that there are unique contexts such as the Philippine Health Information Exchange, the Philippine Business Registry, the National Single Window, BIR's applications, the Department of Finance, law enforcement. There are different contexts for every single logical collaborative group. So, but underneath that, we have what we call a non-intrusive architecture where we respect and recognize inroads in technology and services that have already been deployed by the different agencies, but we still need to come up with solutions to meet the mandate of interoperability and data exchange. Now, this is basically a snapshot of what we've already accomplished with the Philippine e-government interoperability framework. We basically versioned it or phased it into 3 phases. First phase, the technical technology interoperability, has already been published. It has been completed by that technical working group. The information interoperability has been released earlier this year, and we are now at thresholds of engaging and convening the groups to begin the process interoperability, which cannot be defined at big government level, but needs to start at the collaborative group level. Just briefly, you will be given a copy of this presentation, but this is something that's also on the website, i.gov.ph. It's basically the environment. If you notice, this gives you a picture of everything that has been presented in the video into one cohesive solution for government in order to raise our effectiveness in servicing citizenry. Let me talk to you a little bit about what you see when you go in there. The objective is the National Government Portal. It is not only for AO 39 so that we follow a government web template, but it's also to minimize the confusion for citizens to have to memorize every single URL of the 350 different agencies, plus all of the attached agencies and bureaus that might be part of each of those 350 entities. So either we go with gov.ph or i.gov.ph. The point is, it'll be a single URL in which all your solutions can be made accessible. And safeguarding that is basically our enablement with PKI and single sign-on. Talk about that a little bit more.
Tutok na sa Wazzup Pilipinas. Ibutin ang mundo, kainin ang gusto. Alamin ng tamang daan kung paano ang umaseso. Kasama ang buong tropa ng Wazzup Pilipinas. Aming ibibigay sa madla at ipapadanas ang saya ng Wazzup Pilipinas. Tutok na sa Wazzup Pilipinas. Ang saya dito sa Pilipinas. Ihahatid sa inyo ng Wazzup Pilipinas.